Everyone is looking for the next Cheapie to take over the world. Previously, the hype went to things such as the Quarks, the Chews, the Blondes, and whatever KZ. Today, we have the Tangzu Wan Er. Tangzu always named their products after historic people of ancient China. Shangguan Wan Er is no different. Wan Er was basically the female prime minister who was serving under Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian is not coincidentally another Tangzu product. I mean, I have review links below somewhere, right? It is basically a rags to riches story with Wan Er initially starting off as a servant and eventually becoming the #1 aide to the Empress Wu Zetian. Anyways, back to the IEM. Starting with an unboxing, there is quite a beautiful illustration of Wan Er as the face of the IEM. Opening the box, you are greeted by her again with a very nice microfiber cloth, which is great for cleaning my glasses. Of course, next we have the IEMs themselves. The Wan Er's chassis is made from plastic, unsurprisingly, sporting the tried and true custom universal shape, which is used by about 1001 Chinese IEMs at the moment. Perhaps just a bit overdone. My copy is in black and I think it does look quite pretty. The chassis is smoky so you can see the dynamic driver mounted inside it. Speaking about dynamic driver, the Wan Er has a single 10mm PET diaphragm. Moving forward, we have the cable that we can kind of pop it onto the IEM. It seems to be silver coated copper, but I'm not too sure. And basically it has a 2-pin connector for the 2-pin female on the IEM, as well as a 3.5mm jack. One complaint about the 3.5mm jack here is that it is quite a bit too short. I cannot really fit it inside any female socket that is recessed, so that's quite a bummer. Another thing is that it is also surprisingly tangly, so good luck with that. Tangzu has provided quite a nice selection of narrow and wide bore ear tips. It is very nice, but the ear tips themselves are kind of flimsy. Isolation also isn't fabulous. This is another IEM that I would do an immediate ear tip transplant to improve on isolation. The Wan Er features a neutral warm signature. For the most part, it is well balanced and natural sounding. It does feature quite good details in the mid-range for the price, and it's probably the highlight of the IEM. I can see what the engineer is going for with this, as the bulk of the tuning revolves around the vocals. It is a very beginner-centric earphone, good details in the vocal section but mediocre details in other ranges. Overall, it is very decent for IEM in its price. Bass is slightly elevated with a focus on mid-bass. Bass technicality is adequate for slow pop rock, but struggles when it comes to a bit of more complex bass line runs. It is just a bit slow and thus a little smeary, blending into other frequencies. Texture on the bass is also a little one-dimensional, but with that said, on simpler music they can be quite enjoyable with managed expectations. Mid-range, vocals, although slightly recessed, takes all the focus on the Wan Er. I can understand why the engineers did this, as this is the frequency band that most humans' ears are most sensitive to. I found the mid-range to be warm and sweet with slight upper mid elevation. This gives a very good edge to the vocals. I find it rather sprightly with good details for the price. I particularly enjoyed the tonality. It does get coloured by the bass fuzziness, albeit slightly. Instruments do sound like they are kinda slightly blended together. Separation wise could be better, but I'm just happy how the vocals stand out. Treble extension is okay-ish. I don't find them too airy but decent for the price. Cymbals and crashes here has adequate sizzle and enough resolution. I do however find that with dome hits on the right cymbals, they tend to get lost somewhat. And finally, in terms of soundstage, width and height, very mediocre performance with regards to width and height. Think of it like a smaller jazz club that it's not very big, obviously because it's smaller. Depth and positioning, I think you hear lots of vocals taking the center stage. You can make out where the instruments are coming from, and I think for $20 US, this is quite decent. Depth is average, as the smearing of bass does reduce the perceived depth of the music somewhat. And finally, in conclusion, overall the Wan Er is a very decent IEM if you are buying an IEM for the first time. I think many will be smitten by the excellent vocal tonality that it renders. It is quite impressive on the first listen for someone who is new and hasn't developed ears for critical listening. Technically, these are just okay, but tonally they do sound quite pretty. Build quality is decent for the price. It does feel light, but I feel that they actually made an effort to make the faceplate rather pretty, rather than it being extremely generic. I must reiterate that these are not giant killers, but good enough for most. All in all, excellent value. For them to improve, I say really consider getting a pair of ear tips for a better seal. Yeah, sure, ear tips does cost about just as much as the One Er, but you can actually transplant them to the next earphone should you want to get a new one. And with that, thank you guys for watching the Super Chong Super Audio Show. I hope you like the new value add stuff, like there's a graph in the video somewhere, and I'll make it bigger this time around so you can see it. If you like the content so far, please kindly press the like and subscribe button. It will help me out a bunch, keep me motivated to do stuff. Sometimes when I see the views is too low, I feel very sad and disheartened, but it's okay. I think the key to success is to just keep trying and never give up, right? That's what they say. I'm not sure if that's a good ending.
No, that's fine. Just say bye-bye.
Okay, bye guys. Hope to see you guys soon in real life. Say hi if you see me. It's always nice to say hi to people. With that, I'm gone. Bye!